Hi Danish learner, welcome back to my channel, Danish Matters. I'm Tina Baga, your Danish friend and tutor. Today I'm just going to do a very short video about curiosity, because when you learn a language, curiosity is just so important. If you're not curious, you're just learning like this. Yeah, you're only looking into your book, you're only doing the very minimum. When you learn, most of your learning actually goes on outside the classroom. Yeah? You learn stuff in class, but it is your job to go out and use it outside of the classroom. Use it in the cafes, use it in the stores, use it with the people in the streets. And yes, I know it takes courage, because it's like putting on a coat, right? This is your Danish coat, this is your costume, because you don't really feel like yourself when you go out there. But try it anyway, little bits and pieces here and there, but you learn the most when you're outside the classroom, and that also means to be curious. Yeah, so when you're out, look at the street names, look at the menus in the restaurants, listen to what people are saying in the train or in the store. Be curious and learn from the Danes. Half of your speaking is actually going through your ears. What you're hearing is going to come out of your mouth. Yeah? So pay attention. That's part of being curious. Pay attention, listen, read, and then try and copy that and have that come out of your mouth. Also, part of the listening is also when it comes to questions. I hear that with my students. If I ask them a question, they're not paying attention. Pay attention to the question asked and see if there are any words in that phrase that you can reuse in your answer. Yeah? It could be words that you haven't heard before, but that you understand, and then you reuse it because now you know. Or it can be words that have to do with how you, the most important, how you use that in the phrase. Yeah, so, okay, they say this word with this stress or with this meaning behind, or then reuse that in your answer. Yeah, so that also means that you really need to be Dumbo the elephant. I've actually made a video called that. Go and check that one out. And also, when you listen, you come across words that are totally new to you. Ask about them if you don't understand them. But if you understand what is being said, then pay attention to which words can I use when I answer back. Yeah? That also means that you need to learn short answering, because there are words that we don't use again when we answer. So we use auxiliary words when we answer. I could say, har du fri nu? Are you off from work or school now? If that is the case, you could say, ja, det har jeg. You reuse the auxiliary verb har. Har du fri nu? Ja, det har jeg. I could say another auxiliary verb, yeah. Er du fra Frankrig? Er du fra USA? Er du fra Serbien? Yeah. If that is the case, you answer, ja, det er jeg. You're using that verb back in your question. That is stealing from the question. Yeah? Now, oftentimes, if it's not an auxiliary verb, we use other words. Yeah? We might use modal verbs. You can use those again also in your answering. If I say, skal du på ferie til sommer? Ska is skal. Yeah, that's a modal verb. You can reuse that in your answer. Ja, det skal jeg. Ja, det skal jeg. Kan du godt lide appelsiner? Ja, det kan jeg. Kan is can. Yeah, another modal verb. You can reuse that in your answer. So auxiliary verbs, modal verbs, reuse those in your answer. If the verbs used are not auxiliary verbs and not modal verbs, you would use gør. Bor du i Danmark? Ja, det gør jeg. It's not an auxiliary verb. Bor is not an auxiliary verb, and it's not a modal verb. It's another verb. Yeah? You answer by using gør. Ja, det gør jeg. So when you go out there with the Danes, among the Danes, be curious, read a lot of different things, brochures and menus and street names and whatnot, look things up, and talk to people if you dare, if you can muster the courage. Be brave, and then reuse words when you answer something. Auxiliary verbs, modal verbs, reuse those in your answer. Other types of verbs, use gør. And remember, we have tenses in our language, right? So you use, of course, the same tense as the verb that is being used, yeah? So if people say, skulle du til fest i går? Skulle is skulle, yeah? It's the past tense and the infinitive of the present tense skal, yeah? You would reuse that in your answer. Ja, det skulle jeg. Ja, det skulle jeg. Yeah? Same idea with the other verbs. Okay? Gør would then be gjorde in the past tense. Okay? G-J-O-R-D-E. Gjorde. Yeah? Go on out there. Be curious. That's how you learn the most. You don't learn everything in class just with your book and your teacher. It's out there in the real world that you learn the most. It's in between your Danish classes that you learn the most. If you actually do something, if you're active. Yeah? Watch TV, listen to podcasts and audiobooks, and read books and articles and all other things. Listen for what the Danes are saying when they're speaking. I hope you got something out of this video. Please like and subscribe. It really helps this channel a lot. And if you would like to support my work, that would be greatly appreciated. You can go to the link for Buy Me a Coffee. You can also write to me if you want a Danish course. You can write to tina@danishmatters.dk. A new type of course that I'm doing is that I am using what is called hyggespil. It's a game, but it's not really a game. It's little cards with questions on that I use in my class, and which sort of results in little conversations. Yeah? So if I ask you, hvad ville du gerne være, da du var barn? What would you like to have become when you were a child? That is, what would you have liked to work with? What would be the profession that you would like to have when you were a child? For example, it's in Danish, and then we would have a Danish conversation about that one question, yeah? We could have another question and another question, as much as we want. We could have a little chit chat and small talk to begin with first, and then this game afterward. It actually teaches you a lot, because I will, of course, correct your grammar, your vocabulary, and your pronunciation while you're speaking, just as I always will when I teach you normally also. This is just a little more fun. It's not that structured, so if you're a very structured person and you want structured classes, this type of course is not for you. But if you are, I would say, from intermediate and up, kind of a student, then you could have this type of course where we use the hyggespil, the hygge game. Yeah, it's just for fun, but you learn a lot from it. So either way, whatever course you would like, if you would like a Danish course with me, hyggespil course or not, then write to tina@danishmatters.dk. Thank you so much for watching, and as I always say, happy Danish learning!